lads! Welcome to the Whiskey Crossing! Kyle here. That was a terrible Irish accent, but it's what I got, and I'm pretty Irish, I think, ancestrally, so I might need to work on that. I'll work on my leprechaun coming up this month, but it is March. The winter is probably on its way out, we think, so that's really exciting after a long and snowy winter. We are happy to see some green grass coming out, and speaking of green, the Emerald Isle. What's more March than Irish whiskey? I got a lot of Irish stuff to get through, so let's start with this one. This is going to be, as of today, this is my newest Irish whiskey. I have one on its way, which will supplant this as the actual newest one, but that's neither here nor there. This is Method and Madness. This is an Irish single pot still whiskey. I'll go into the ranges a little bit. This is made by Midleton Distillery in Cork, Ireland, and this is the same distillery that produces Jameson, Redbreast, Green Spot, Midleton Very Fine Rare, and a number of other Irish brands as well. So this is the biggest distillery by far in Ireland in terms of volume and individual expressions as well. But let's get into this bottle. Method and Madness is the experimental series of Midleton. So Midleton is this big distillery. They have established brands. They want to do some different kinds of things, different maturation, experiments, and they use this Method and Madness to put out those experimental expressions without risking the reputation of the other brands. So look at this Method and Madness bottle, first of all. I mean, I love the design elements. You have the method in this patterned, evenly distributed side here, and it goes up the front label all the way up onto the neck, and you get that same method design. And on the other side, you got the madness. You got the free-form abstract. Again, it starts on the front label, goes all the way up to the top. My light battery just went out, so hold on a second. I'm going to give this thing a bad review at B&H because this battery life is horrendous. Alright, we're back. So Method and Madness, experimental Midleton. This one is experimental because it is finished in chestnut casks. Okay? So most whiskey in general is finished in oak casks. Bourbon must be finished in new oak casks. Scotch must be finished in it must be matured in oak casks, and only oak casks. So Irish whiskey is looser with their definition of their styling, and as a result, there's some experimenting that can be done. So I do applaud Midleton of trying some new things, and I don't know what chestnut tastes like. I've never licked a chestnut tree. I've never licked, well, there was that one time in band camp, but let's move on. This is single pot still. Single pot still is unique to Ireland and Irish whiskey in that it is both malted and unmalted barley in the mash bill, and it uses a pot still. So this is matured in sherry and bourbon barrels, likely individually and then combined in a vat and finished in these chestnut casks, all married together. Let's take a swig, take a nose swig. We need a better word than nose. Can't we come up with something better than nose? On the nose, it knows that it's good. This is actually, for an experimental release, this is very stereotypically Irish. I'm getting that shortbread cookie, some citrusy, maybe even like lemon, not like sour lemon, but like lemon icing on a pastry. Like one of those lemon cookies, you know, or like a lemon frosted donut. A little bit of cherry as well. Some darker notes coming in. But it's like a tropical fruit. It's definitely a citrusy, bright fruit. And then, yeah, just that yeast, that maltiness, that cookie. It's a lovely nose. Really nothing particularly controversial about it. You know, I don't get, wow, this is different on the nose. See how it tastes? All right, let's give it a mouth swig. Yeah. Buttered roll, more shortbread cookie, a little bit of a drier roll, like a scone, like a buttered scone, a craisin scone. They probably don't make craisin scones. It's probably blasphemy in the motherland. Okay, so cranberry scones. Yeah, it's not particularly rich. This is, by the way, 46% alcohol by volume, 92 proof. I didn't mention that in the beginning, which is a fine ABV. That's kind of the standard for Irish whiskey, except for Jameson and Red and Green Spot are 80 proof. All right, one more taste. So do I get sweet fruit and spice? Yeah, I would say I do. Cinnamon toast. If there's cinnamon there, it's not really coming prominently. I wouldn't put that as the second tasting note. Ripe banana? No. Yeah, maybe. I mean, it comes across a little more tropical to me than a banana, as far as the fruit profile, but listen, this is a delicious whiskey. This was, I believe, $75. Again, it's single pot still, which is on par with single malt. There is a single malt in this series as well as a single grain or a blended. This is the middle range one of the three. The single malt was $10 more, and the single grain or the blended was $10 less. I thought this was the one to go with. It got pretty good reviews online, and yeah, this is a good bottle. I think it's an excellent design. It looks great on the bar. I value that to a certain extent, the presentation of it. It's got this octagon, like, it's not a, well, actually, yes it is. So the four main sides are longer than the diagonals, so it gives it a little bit of a rounder octagon shape, so it's not like the sextant. That's probably a hexagon, though. But it's an octagon shape. I don't think I have a ton of octagon shapes. So yeah, I don't think I have any octagon bottles. Look at that. Look at that octagon. So did you buy this whiskey? I mean, it's $75. It's 46%. You're competing against Green Spot and Redbreast 12. I'd get Green Spot first. It's very similar and probably a good 40% less. Although I've seen it higher in some places. So, you know, if these two are closely priced, Redbreast 12 is probably right in the same ballpark, maybe a little bit less. You know, if you've had those two, definitely I think you'll really enjoy the profile here. It's definitely in that ballpark of the Redbreast and Green Spot, given that it's from Middleton and it has that very traditional Irish flavor profile to it. So it's not going to be anything crazy. So yeah, it's experimental, but it's really not pushing the envelope, and maybe that's my main critique with it, is just that, you know, if this is I'm getting some method. I understand you did something different, but I don't know what a chestnut cask, what does it do to the whiskey? I don't know that in and of itself is contributing enough here. It's just a good whiskey. So this one doesn't necessarily distinguish itself or differentiate itself from many of those other finished whiskeys. So, you know, it's good, but it's not unique really, and it's not something that I would buy before Green Spot and Redbreast, 12-year-old. So, depending where you are in your Irish whiskey exploration, go to those first. Get the Middleton flavor profile, understand what they're kind of making in general, and then this one will be a nice nuance for you. But I wouldn't start with this bottle. You got to work your way up to really make this worth your purchase. So either way, Irish whiskey is an excellent segment and something that I am going to definitely enjoy drinking the majority of March. I have a bunch of new bottles this year and a bunch that I'd love to go back to after not really going through them much throughout the year. So I'm going to enjoy some Irish whiskey this March. I hope you do as well. Thank you for stopping by, and I hope to see you again